I want to take a little bit of time talking about my own experiences as an entrepreneur. Actually, I was thinking about this the other day. The first time that I actually attempted to do something from an entrepreneurial standpoint, I was working for a rather large corporation. I was working in marketing communications, and wanted to do something. Wanted to go out on my own. Was fascinated about small businesses. And I read something someplace on a company called VR Business Broker. But what they did was they bought businesses and brokered businesses, did small merger and acquisitions. They almost were a real estate company that focused on the small business market. It was actually started by a gentleman who had been really successful in setting up Kentucky Fried Chicken franchises, and so he was using the franchise model for business brokerage. So I flew out to Boston, that's where he was located, and I went to go have a meeting with the guy. And I was just a young punk in his late 20s, and I actually sat with the CEO, got an appointment with him, and I told him point blank I didn't have any money. Didn't have any money to buy the franchise, and I think at the time the franchise was like $35,000 to $40,000, which is a lot of money today, and it was even more for a young guy with 2 kids. So he gave me some suggestions. He said, why don't you go back, talk to the largest real estate agency in Indianapolis, and I was living in Indianapolis at the time, and see what they think. And he also gave me the telephone number of a guy named Ron Chernak, who had just bought a franchise and moved out to Colorado Springs. So I went back, and I actually contacted Ron. Ron said that he had just started up and really couldn't take any partners on or anything like that, but he wanted to stay in contact with me. But then I went to go see the largest real estate agency in Indianapolis. Actually got in, which to my amazement, with the senior vice president, one of the owners. And you know, again, think about it. I'm coming out of advertising. I get an appointment with the head of the large real estate agency, and I went in and made my pitch, and they bought it. They had a slight twist, though. They wanted me to buy the businesses with their money, with their capital, and then we would fix them, and then we would resell them. And I really liked that, but I'll be honest with you, I got cold feet. I admitted to myself that I had kind of reached one of my limits, and that was I really didn't know how to turn around businesses. And so we had a couple of conversations, and I finally said, you know, I love it. I love that you guys support it, but I can't do it. I can't do it because I really don't think I have the capabilities and the skills to really turn around a business. And so I let that go, but it became the motivation for me to go to MBA school. And it was kind of ironic after I did the MBA, University of Illinois, commuting on the weekends, doing an executive MBA on the weekends for 2 years. The week after I completed it, remember Ron Chernak? I actually recontacted Ron Chernak out in Colorado Springs. I went out to actually see him. We had dinner, we had breakfast, we talked about what we could do. He said, hey, look, let's do the Front Range together. I'll take the southern part of the Front Range. You live up in Fort Collins, and we'll tackle the Front Range in doing mergers, acquisitions, turnarounds, and also business brokerage. I came back, did a handshake with Ron, and came back, and my wife told me that I had a call from an executive recruiter. I took the phone call. You know, you don't turn down opportunities, and had a really good talk with a CEO in upstate New York. He flew my wife and I out to see him on a weekend, and he went, Greg, and I told him what I wanted to do. I told him what I had going on in the handshake with Ron Chernak, and it's going to be a VR business broker. He goes, look, you want to learn how to be an entrepreneur? You come with me. And it was a leverage buyout. It was about $250 million company, so it was big. It was a big company. And I was going to report directly to the CEO. But I took that job because it meant a little bit more security for my family than just doing a 2-year startup with Ron out on the Front Range. And I called Ron and told him I wasn't going to be able to do it. He understood. But it started on an interesting journey in other areas. But it was my first contact with being an entrepreneur.